Welcome to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, a homeschool mom, entrepreneur, and educator with over 20 years of experience in the areas of elementary and special education. It's my mission to help you create lifelong learners and embrace a holistic approach to education at home. I'll be sharing practical strategies, inspiration, and resources to support your family. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, or balancing work and homeschool, you're in the right place to connect with a community that values education just as much as you do. Join us each week as we ditch the stress, embrace the joy of learning, and set your family up for a lifetime of success. Hey friend, welcome back to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, the home education expert. Well, this particular episode is dedicated to all the mamas out there. First, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day. We celebrated Mother's Day yesterday, and I just want to take a moment to honor and celebrate each and every one of you. And I hope that you enjoyed a relaxing day doing everything that you love to do. Maybe going to the bathroom alone, reading your text messages, or scrolling without someone interrupting you or reading over your shoulder. Enjoying a meal or even just a snack you didn't have to prepare. I'm sure we could go on and on, right? I know I'm at this season where having a conversation with my husband means everyone's part of the conversation. So we are definitely in that season for sure, but love every single minute of it for sure. Well, this leads me to my first question, and this is on a lighter note. What did you do for Mother's Day? And what did you really want to do, right? So maybe you did something and it was great. It was a nice Mother's Day. You enjoyed it with everyone, or maybe you did cook dinner or whatever that looks like, right? So what did you do for Mother's Day? And what did you really want to do? Maybe you really just wanted to sleep in, take a nap, and do nothing and have no interruptions. And I know that's hard to do. So I would love to know. There are no wrong answers here. Join us in the private Home Education with Ease Facebook group and feel free to answer with zero judgment. So it's a completely private group. You have to answer questions and get into the group so you can share your real mom life moments with other moms that totally get it. Well, in all seriousness, this episode is really about motherhood and how being a mom is challenging yet rewarding. And I believe that so much because it's so true. It was actually the name of one of my first shows, because as I was trying to figure out what is it that is my mission, is my goal, what is motherhood all about? And in those seasons, even now, it's different. The challenges are different. But I had toddlers. I was starting a business. My husband was traveling, and I left my teaching career to stay home and start a business. And now I was embarking on a whole new journey of like, what does this look like? I knew how to teach. I could do that. I knew what that looked like. What does running a business look like? Navigating that with two toddlers, with my husband that's not there. So now I'm managing the house and the kids and anything else, plus a business on top of that. Plus I was helping and working for other people at the same time. So really challenging yet rewarding, because even though we have those challenges, and I'm going to share some of my challenges with you, but those challenges are different for everyone. And they can be a multitude of things. It could be a health challenge. It could be a job challenge. It could be a family member. There's so many challenges that could be happening. And we never know what lies ahead being a mom. There's challenges that pop up all the time. So today we're going to talk about them. And even in the struggle, there are moments of pure joy and reward in it all. Remember those first steps, the first words, the I love yous, the sweet little fingers and toes. Now I'm in the stage of, even still holding my hand while we're walking in the parking lot, it melts my heart. And I don't want to let that go. Those are the rewards. The I'm sorries, the hugs when you need them the most. That's the reward. That's the joy of it all. So today I have lots of questions, lots of things for you to think about. You can certainly take this episode and pause it every now and then and just start journaling some of these things out. You can also join us in the Facebook group, Home Education with Ease. Again, a completely private Facebook group full of moms. And you could share your thoughts there in the Facebook group. You can even send me a DM personally, because I would love to just sit with you, support you, and encourage you on your journey. So that invitation is open as well. But now my second question for today is, what unexpected challenges did you face during motherhood? I'll be sharing some of those challenging moments for me today. And I encourage you to share yours too, because sometimes we need to get it out to be able to heal, to be able to move forward. And that's what I'm hoping to hold space for today. I want you to remember that you're not alone and you don't have to navigate this journey alone. The Home Education with Ease community is non-judgmental, and it's here to support you and encourage you every step of the way. Motherhood's not a straight path. It's a journey, and it's filled with twists and turns and hills and valleys, moments of pure bliss and moments of devastation, destruction, challenges that we may not think we're going to see our way out of it. But today I want to celebrate each and every one of those moments. Because yes, it can be challenging, but it is so rewarding. So I'm going to share a little bit about my own personal stories. We all have many of them. One of them was when I found out that this even goes back even before. So I shared with you in a previous episode that I had a miscarriage before our daughter, Aubriella. And we got married in July. My husband was leaving for South Korea in November. So the day after Thanksgiving, he was leaving. And he wasn't going to be back until January 10th. So first year of our marriage, and even that year planning up to our marriage, he was in South Korea for his job most of that time. And I got off the birth control pill probably in the summer. So after our wedding, and it was like, okay, let's get this out of my system. Let's, just see what happens. Because I was talking to people that it might take a year for that to happen, right? To get out of your system, to be able to get pregnant. So I did. And before he left, I didn't find out I was pregnant until it was December, probably. And I find out I'm pregnant. I tell him via an email because he was in South Korea. I couldn't even call him at that time. And that pregnancy ended in a miscarriage. And so even before you actually have kids, no one tells you some of the challenges that you're going to face before that even happens, before you even get to hold a baby. And in some cases, if you get to hold your own child as a kid and even a young adult, you're so gullible. You're so just believe things just happen, or at least I did, because I didn't know. It was like, yeah, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have 2 kids. Everything's going to be great. But that's not the reality. Like, there are so many trials and there's so many things that could happen that I wasn't even prepared for. To hear that there's no heartbeat, how can that even be true? Like, you don't see those stories often, maybe more now. But at the time, it's like, you don't hear those kind of things. You see on the shows, right? On TV, people get married, they have babies, they live these happy lives. And then you realize that sometimes people struggle to get pregnant. I know so many friends that there were struggles just to even get pregnant and then to stay pregnant. And I've just seen so many moms face so many challenges along the way. And I shared this in my episode, and I'll tag it in the show notes below, the episode that I really shared about my entire miscarriage journey. But we walk through it. Moms have to grieve, but then also just move on with their life. If they have another child, if they have a job, that is literally a whole nother issue in itself, right? Of us grieving when we go through these challenging moments. Well, for me, yes, I went through that moment of uncertainty, of saying you don't have a heartbeat. I went through a DNC and woke up totally scared of like, well, what's next? What's going to happen? Am I even going to be able to get pregnant? And by the grace of God, I was able to get pregnant pretty soon after. And with what I originally thought was no complications, right? Like everything seems to be pretty good until I get a phone call, not even a call in the office, right? I'm pregnant. I must have known, maybe I knew that I was pregnant with Ella, but I had a miscarriage not that long ago. So it wasn't even a year since I had that miscarriage. So walking into a pregnancy after having a miscarriage, you definitely question things. Well, what did I do in that pregnancy? Did I eat something? Did I overexert energy? Did I do something? I was very, very cautious when I was pregnant with Ella because I was like, I'm not going through that again. Again, not knowing all that I know now or more information, about situations, still very naive. I guess gullible is not the right word. Naive is a better word for what I was experiencing as a young wife and a young mother. And I get this phone call. Now, let me remind you that I was a special education teacher at the time. I worked in the life skills classroom, and I get a phone call saying that maybe they told me, maybe I did know that it was a girl at the time, that she was going to have Down syndrome. And I was like, what? Like, again, I worked in special education. I knew that I could take care of a child that had Down syndrome. And I mean, I didn't know that. Let me backstep there just a little bit because I know that there are so many challenges with a lot of things. So I didn't know that, but I did know that I had experience. So it wasn't the fact that yeah, sure, I was scared. That was big news to hear. Every mom prays for a healthy baby, no complications. And it just seems the more and more stories I hear, there are complications along the way. Those are the stories that aren't put out there as bravely as here's my brand new baby girl or, everything went great. It's not always the case. And that wasn't the case for me. Well, at least I thought. So I get this phone call, trying to process this phone call over a phone call. I was shocked, first of all. And I was going on a field trip with my class that day. It's like one of those days you never forget, right? And I actually worked with my mom in the same district at the time. And I just remember I got to go talk to my mom. I don't know what to do, you know? So we're getting ready for our field trip and I have to at least go talk to my mom, and I talk to her, I tell her, and she's like, okay, we're going to take care of this. We'll figure this out, And huge shout out to my mom too. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And my grandmas that are listening and mother-in-law. So give them a big shout out for sure. But I had to go on this field trip. Like there was no backing out of this now. It was like, well, there's nothing I could do. I just have to go on this field trip. So as I was on the field trip, and I remember it was October, and we were going on a pumpkin patch ride, right? Which I love. I love fall. I love pumpkin patches. And I was so excited. And I was always that teacher that's taking all the pictures and right there with the kiddos and just having a good old time. That field trip was totally not like that for me. I was very much just trying to process, honestly, and figuring out what's the next step, calling doctors, on the phone, trying to in a safe way and when I was able to. But I was trying to figure out what is my next step? Where is my next appointment going to be? What do I have to do? And I just remember I kept asking my current gynecologist office and I said, tell me now, because the office that I would have delivered at did not have a NICU. So these are some of the things that we have to think about as moms, because again, no one tells you this kind of stuff, right? You just have to talk to other moms. You have to build a community and you have to learn from others, because if you don't, you just don't know. And it's no fault of your own. So I knew, though, that this hospital did not have a NICU, and I knew that if there were any complications with my baby, that I was going to have to stay at the hospital and they were going to have to transport my baby to Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, in the city. And I asked my office multiple times, every time I would go in for an appointment, because at this point now they want to see me more often. I actually went down to West Penn Hospital for my checkups to get more ultrasounds and everything. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But I knew, though, that it was like, I need to know if I need to switch doctors. And they kept giving me the runaround. And I was so upset. As a new mom, you have pregnancy hormones going all over. And then you have this news. One, you're still grieving a miscarriage that you had. You're excited that you're pregnant, but now you just find out that your child could have Down syndrome. Like, holy cow, what a roller coaster of emotions. So we had been going to West Penn, to the hospital down there, and they had been doing measurements and checking and just very thorough. And I got to see the baby a lot, because they kept doing more and more scans. And they kept saying, we don't see what they're seeing. And I was like, okay, all right, but I'm still nervous, because based on what they're telling me still at the office, and based on what I'm hearing here, it's two different things. Here's the biggest piece of advice is advocate for yourself, your children, your health. You have to do the research. You have to talk to the people. You have to ask the questions. Because if you don't, and you just blindly follow someone, they're going to just lead you where they believe is the best place for you. So definitely advocate for yourself, because I had to continue asking that doctor's office and saying, tell me if I have to switch. If my baby has to go to the Children's Hospital, I am not delivering here. And they're like, well, maybe it's a good idea. Now, let me tell you when they told me that. January, and I was due in March, the beginning of March. Maybe it was like the middle of December. I don't know. It was literally like 6 to 8 weeks before I was due. And I was like, thanks a lot. Now you tell me. So at this point now, I have to find new doctors that deliver at West Penn, because I was now comfortable and happy with my experience at West Penn Hospital. And I had to meet all the doctors there. So it was like starting over with 6 to 8 weeks left in your pregnancy. So again, emotional roller coaster, just trying to figure it all out, meeting the doctors. Fortunately, the doctors were fabulous. I really enjoyed that team of doctors. And the rest of my experience went pretty well. So I kept getting checked, and they kept saying, everything looks good. Everything looks good. But you still don't know. You still are unsure of what's going to happen, because then after you start talking to people about these stories, then all the stories come out. Well, doctors said that they were going to have these complications and they came out totally fine. Or doctor said everything's great with the pregnancy and then there were complications. So you just don't know. So Luckily, Dan was home for all of this. He was able to be there beside me the whole way. I go a week overdue. So I taught a whole week overdue. 41 weeks I'm teaching. And I was pretty big. And I remember all the teachers saying, like, Christine, your water better not break in front of my classroom. And so that was the big joke. But I was supposed to be induced on a Monday. I started having contractions on Sunday. And we ended up getting to the hospital probably around 1 or so. And I remember just tons of monitors. Now, at this point, everyone was saying like everything was fine, like she's fine, everything's going good. They're not seeing any signs of Down syndrome or anything like that. So I'm thinking, okay, everything's great. I get into the hospital. They have monitors all over me. They would have doctors swarming in, and then they would leave. And I was like, what is going on? And of course, you're laying on the bed. You're just like, they're like, roll over this way, roll over that way. So I still had no idea what was happening. They're prepping Dan for a potential C-section. And again, I'm just like, okay, whatever, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, right? It's like 1 o'clock, and then it turns to be like, it was like 7 o'clock in the evening. But it was not restful, right? It wasn't like I was like, oh yeah, this is peaceful and restful. No, I just remember like being very uncomfortable. They kept checking me over and over again. So clearly they were seeing something on the monitors outside. And I come to find out it was her heart rate that kept dropping. And again, here's the other naive piece, was me thinking that I'm in the hospital, so nothing could go wrong. Everything's fine, right? They have the professionals there to take care of me. And after talking to other moms, that's not always the case either. But I didn't know that, right? I'm thinking like, well, they're here. Like, fine, come in, check me, do what you have to do. You guys are going to take care of me. Luckily, they did. Everything was fine. Just let me throw that out there. Everything was fine. But eventually they came in, they told me to push. And I remember I pushed once, and I remember the nurse like almost yelling at me because it was like, you have to do it differently. And I'm like, I've never done this before. Like, what? All right, I'll try again. I tried again, and they were like, you need to get her out of here. So got me into the OR. Within 2 minutes, Gabriella was born. And that was because her heart rate completely dropped. I had no fluid. And it was scary, and then just within 2 minutes from the time that happened, they got her out of me. So I was blessed that they were a competent set of doctors and surgeons. And, I did have complications with my anesthesiologist. So that's a story for another day. I had to get a blood patch because I had spinal fluid leaking and I was having spinal headaches the first week of having a newborn. So, when you look back, because you don't think about all of these things, but when you look back, it's like, oh my goodness, what challenges did I have to endure? And how did I navigate them? I think honestly, I was very naive. Honestly, I just was like, it's fine. I'm not positive. Glass is always half full kind of person. And I'm like, everything's fine. Everything's good. It'll be fine. But like I said, after talking to others, there are situations that just don't work out as well as those have. So that is my birth story for Ella. Alex's is way less, I don't know, exciting, challenging. I was going to have a C-section with him because I already had one. And I was like, I'm fine just doing another one. It was relatively fine, and easy. So I scheduled it with the doctor that I had delivered Ella. And the day before, I know I'm going in for a C-section, right? Like I scheduled it. I knew that I was going in. I called them and I was like, so I never got my time that I have to go in. And they're like, we don't have you on the schedule. I was like, what? I was like, I'm coming in tomorrow for a C-section, just so you know, it's on my schedule. So it happened. I didn't even go in until like 3 p.m. and it was very uneventful. I just kept thinking, like, what is taking so long? I know Ella was able to come out within 2 minutes. Why is this process taking so long for me to meet Alex, So that's where Alex and Ella's story is totally different, but they both were healthy. And Ella did have to spend 2 nights in the NICU, but overall, everything was great. Um, so that's my birth story. So I would love to know whether it's a birth story or whether it's a challenge that you had to face with your kids, a health challenge that you had to navigate. Maybe it was a job that you had to take or leave, or what happened? What challenges have you endured? And what gifts or what lessons kind of came out from that? So, again, you can definitely pause and you can just journal this all out. You can record a video. You can, talk to a friend. Sometimes just getting it out is part of the healing process. And then what are some of those lessons? For me, it was about not being so naive. It was about building a community and knowing that things could go wrong. And what do you do in those situations? And how do you connect? How do you find the right answers? How do you connect with the right people? So we're all going to have those moments. And I just want you to know that I'm here, that you can share them in the Facebook group. You can share them privately with me because you don't have to do this alone. And then just think about how these unexpected challenges made you stronger, made you a better person, a better mom, better friend, daughter, wife even. And maybe it taught you in that hard, challenging moment or season even, taught you something you didn't even know you needed. So think about those moments. And then think about all those joyful moments. Think about all the snuggles, all the kisses, all the little I love yous, the little notes. Guys, I can't tell you how many notes I have. Mostly from Ella, but I have notes and little pictures from Alex too. And they warm my heart up every single time. I'll tell you something that is really cool that I really love is that when we're doing school, and if I just grab a paper, one of my old things that I've used before, and it says teacher on it, name, teacher, date, and they're right, mom, our favorite teacher, I love you, mom. Like, guys, I will never get tired of the little I love yous on my papers that they're working on, the little notes, the little crafts, the bedtime talks, just the moments of pride and joy in what they do. Mommy, I made you breakfast. As I have a reel of them making me breakfast. They were much younger. I mean, this was probably when we first moved in. So maybe 3 and 5, 4 and 6. I don't know. They were pretty young. I'll have to go back and look at that video. That they emptied the dishwasher. They put all the dishes away. They made my smoothie, got me a bowl of cereal, my water cup, all the things. And they just were beaming. And it's like, those are the moments. Those are the just most wonderful moments to see their little smiles, to hear their little laughs, their giggles, watching them just devour books because they're excited to learn and read, watching their creativity, watching their kindness to each other and to others. So I want you to think about that. Think about these moments that are small wins in your house that actually are the big wins. So I would love for you to share those wins. Share the little moments that just light you up from the inside out, because those are what matter. That's what we're doing it all for. All those challenges, all the ups and downs that our body goes through, raising kids, and then hormones and all the things that we try to jam into our schedule to make sure that we're taken care of, to make sure the entire family is taken care of, to make sure our job or business is taken care of. It's all worth it when you see those sweet little smiles. You hear, I love you. So I want you to share. And again, you can pause and you can just reflect and you can write this down for yourself, or you can share within the Facebook group. Maybe we'll have a couple posts because there's so many great moments here for you to reflect. And just think about these moments of pure joy with your kids. What are some of those simple moments that actually are those moments of just that you're going to treasure forever? The moments that mean the most. So think about those, because sometimes the most ordinary moments are often the most extraordinary. And I know I've seen that for sure. Well, I want to leave you with some positivity, some encouragement, because you are amazing. You are the perfect mom for your child and your children. Your hard work matters, even if no one sees it or appreciates it or says anything. It matters because they're watching, they notice, even if they don't speak it. You are amazing, and you are a fabulous mother. And you are doing so many great things for your children. All of the sacrifices that we go through. Everyone, as parents, it's for our kids. It's to leave this legacy that is just bigger than we can ever imagine. Leading with love and watching them lead with love. I encourage you, think about how you want your family to operate. Take those challenges. Take those moments of reward and just continue to nurture everyone. Encourage others, support them, build a community. Be there for each other. Be there for not only your own family, for your kids. Let them know that you're there no matter what. They can come to you and talk to you all the time. And then be there for others that are saying, I don't know how she does it all. Be there for each other and build a community. And if you're looking for a community, I invite you to join the Home Education with Ease community. So we have a free Facebook group. It's the private Facebook group I was talking about earlier. That is an opportunity for you to get connected with other moms, share real life, and just know that you're not alone. And then if you want to go a couple steps further, I have a couple other options. One, I have mom communities in Pittsburgh and Augusta, Georgia. So we have moms groups that meet, and we haven't been as active lately, but we are going to begin to meet up again. So those moms groups, I've connected moms that were in the same neighborhood and didn't even know it. So just getting connected with moms in your area is so important. And then if you even want to go one step further, if you want support and guidance and just knowing like all your questions answered, you can join the Home Education Collective. And that's a space for community, resources, support from me, personalized for you. So there's all these different ways to get connected. I just am excited to hear your stories, your challenges, and your amazing moments of joy and reward during motherhood. So be sure to join that Facebook group. You can share and message me on Instagram or Facebook. So the Home Education Expert on Instagram, at EduPlayLearning on both Instagram or Facebook, and then Christine Furman on Facebook. So there's many ways to get in touch with me, and you can fill out the form here if you are like, all right, I'm ready for the next step, and we can have those conversations and see what that looks like for your family and your situation. And if nothing else, I would love for you to join the Facebook group to get connected with other moms. So I just want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for letting me share my heart with you. And just remember that you are not alone on this journey. You are beautiful. You are amazing. You are absolutely everything that your child needs. And I'm going to leave you with this verse, and it's 2 Chronicles 15-7. And it says, "But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded." And just remember that even when no one's watching, people are noticing all that you're doing. Even on those days when you feel like, I can't get out of the kitchen, or I'm never going to get this house cleaned up. You are doing amazing work, and they're all watching. And they're all grateful and appreciative, even if they don't say it. Well, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. I'm sending you lots of love and hugs. Until next time, friend. Thank you for tuning in to the Home Education with Ease podcast. I hope today's episode left you feeling empowered and ready to take the next steps on your home education journey. Your support means the world to me. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. For even more resources, be sure to join the free Facebook group, Home Education with Ease, and visit eduplaylearning.com to explore our programs and subscription kits. You can find the links and any other links mentioned in this episode in the show notes below. Remember, you're not alone. This community is here to support you every step of the way.